Have you ever felt it? That quiet, nagging ache for something more. A dream nestled so deep in your heart you can feel its weight. Maybe it's a book you've always wanted to write, a business you've longed to start, a love you've been too afraid to pursue, or a version of yourself you've only met in daydreams. Think about it for a moment. That one great unfulfilled desire. Perhaps you've tried and stumbled, the sting of failure still fresh. Or perhaps you've never even dared to take the first step, held back by a force you can't quite name. You are standing at the edge of a vast, personal forest. Inside its misty borders lies everything you've ever wanted. But the path is unclear, and the woods look dark and intimidating. And so, you wait. This feeling, this paralysis, is a universal human experience. It's the silent acknowledgement that between the person we are and the person we want to be, there is a journey fraught with peril. We all have our own forests, our own internal wildernesses of fear, doubt, and past failures that we must navigate. The world tells us to be fearless, to just do it, to hustle harder. But it rarely acknowledges the quiet terror of that first step into the unknown, the genuine pain of stumbling over unseen roots, or the disorienting feeling of getting lost among the towering trees of our own inhibitions. What if the reason you haven't succeeded isn't a lack of desire, or talent, or even effort? What if the reasons are deeper, more subtle? What if they are the very strategies your mind has developed to protect you? Strategies that are now keeping you trapped at the edge of the woods. Today, we are not just going to list these reasons. We are going to take a journey together, deep into this forest of the self. We will light a lamp and walk the path, illuminating the shadows, understanding the landscape, and discovering that you have the strength not only to navigate it, but to find the sunlit clearings of profound achievement and peace that lie within. We will explore 10 of the most common, yet often invisible forms of self-sabotage that keep us from our own lives, drawing on the stark insights of thinkers like Mark Manson, but filtering them through a lens of deep empathy and psychological understanding. Let's begin our walk. The first thing you notice as you contemplate entering your forest is the noise from the village behind you. It's the sound of opinions, expectations, and judgments. This is our first major obstacle. You fail because you are afraid to stand apart from the crowd. The philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "Society everywhere is in conspiracy against the manhood of every one of its members. This isn't necessarily a malicious conspiracy, but a conspiracy of comfort." Your growth, your journey into that daunting forest, is a mirror to those who have chosen to stay in the familiar comfort of the village. Your courage reminds them of their own fears. Your ambition illuminates their own dormant dreams. And for many, that reflection is uncomfortable, even painful. So, they will try to pull you back, not always out of malice, but out of a desire to restore their own sense of equilibrium. They will call your dream unrealistic, your ambition selfish. They will tell you to get a real job, to be practical, to stop chasing fantasies. The voices of those closest to you, family, friends, partners, are often the loudest. They love you, and their fear for you can manifest as criticism. They see the dark woods, and they want to keep you safe in the familiar light of the village. If your sense of self is fragile, if the belief in your own path is not yet a sturdy compass in your hand, these voices can become a gale-force wind that pushes you back, convincing you that the safety of conformity is better than the lonely, uncertain path to your own truth. To succeed, to do anything extraordinary, you must develop a profound comfort with being misunderstood. You must learn to hear their fears for what they are, their fears, not your reality. You must anchor yourself so deeply in your own why that the winds of external opinion cannot uproot you. As you take those first tentative steps onto the path, leaving the village sounds behind, a new challenge emerges. The path is longer than you thought. It's covered in thorns and tangled roots. It gets steep. You walk for a day, maybe a week, and the sunlit clearing you dreamed of is nowhere in sight. You grow tired, discouraged. This is our second reason for failure. You do not persist long enough. We live in a culture of instant gratification. We see the highlight reels of others' successes, the published book, the thriving business, the overnight fame, but we rarely see the years of silent, thankless struggle that preceded them. We don't see the rejections, the tears, the moments of utter despair. The author Karl Marlantes spent 35 years, more than half his life, trying to get his Vietnam War novel Matterhorn published. He rewrote the manuscript 6 times. For the first 2 decades, publishers wouldn't even read it. Imagine the sheer tenacity required to believe in a project for that long, to face that much rejection, and to continue to pour your soul onto the page. Most of us give up far too soon. We mistake a difficult journey for the wrong path. We see the first major obstacle not as a test of our resolve, but as a sign that we should turn back. If this journey into the forest of your own mind is already sparking a new perspective for you, take a moment to subscribe to Mind Decode Explained. We journey through these intricate landscapes of the mind together, exploring the paths to healing and self-discovery. By joining our community, you are making a commitment to your own journey of understanding, ensuring you have a guide for the path ahead. True, meaningful success is almost never a short, easy stroll. It is a long, arduous hike. Persistence is the act of continuing to walk even when your muscles ache and your spirit is weary. It's the faith that if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, the landscape will eventually change. It's about falling in love with the journey itself, not just the destination. Let's say you have the courage to persist. You push deeper into the forest, but you find yourself walking in circles. You keep coming back to the same gnarled tree, the same stagnant pond. Why? This brings us to our third reason. You fail because you lack humility. You think you already have the map. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. Crucially, in the context of success, it's the profound understanding of how much you don't know. In every field, you find 2 types of people. There are those who have achieved a small amount of success and immediately declare themselves experts. They speak in absolutes, offer unsolicited advice, and are more interested in defending their knowledge than expanding it. Then there are the true masters, the people who have reached the pinnacle of their craft. And you will find, almost universally, that they are the ones who speak of their own limitations. They are hungry for new knowledge, they openly admit what they don't know, and they are constantly seeking to learn more. They are humble. This isn't a coincidence. Success requires a constant feedback loop. You try something, you get a result, you learn from that result, and then you try something new based on what you've learned. Arrogance, the belief that you already have all the answers, shatters this loop. You become incapable of learning from your results because your ego is invested in your initial approach being the right one. You are lost in the forest, but you refuse to admit it, so you can never ask for directions or consult a new map. You just keep insisting that your circular path is, in fact, the direct route. To truly move forward, you must be willing to be a beginner, over and over again. You must be willing to say, "I was wrong," or "I don't know," or "Can you teach me?" Humility is the key that unlocks the door to growth. Without it, you are trapped in the small, dark room of your own certainty. As you wander, you realize how alone you feel. The silence of the woods is deafening. You see other travelers in the distance, but you hesitate to call out, to join them, or to ask for help. This is our fourth obstacle. You fail because you fail to build and nurture a network of relationships. There's a powerful myth of the lone genius, the solitary hero who achieves greatness all on their own. It's a compelling story, but it's almost always a fiction. Human beings are fundamentally social creatures. Our success, our happiness, and even our health are inextricably linked to the quality of our connections with others. In a professional sense, this is obvious. It's often said that who you know is as important as what you know. A network can bring opportunities, offer guidance, and provide support when you stumble. But I believe this goes much deeper than just career advancement. On this journey through your personal forest, your network is your fellowship. They are the ones who can offer you a sip of water when you are thirsty, who can help you read your map when you are disoriented, who can stand watch while you rest. Trying to make this journey entirely alone is not a sign of strength. It's a recipe for burnout and despair. Research consistently shows that social isolation is as detrimental to your health as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. It leads to depression, anxiety, and a feeling of profound meaninglessness. Building relationships requires vulnerability. It requires reaching out, offering help, and being willing to receive it. It means pushing past the fear of being a burden or the pride of wanting to do it all yourself. Whether it's finding a mentor, joining a mastermind group, collaborating on a project, or simply nurturing the friendships that give you life, connection is not a distraction from the journey. It is an essential part of it. You were never meant to walk through this forest alone. Let's imagine someone from your network does find you. They see you're lost and offer you a compass. They say, the clearing you're looking for is to the north. Your current path is leading you west, deeper into the swamp. How do you react? This leads us to the fifth reason for failure. You are more interested in reforming the advice than in following it. You are more committed to being right than to being effective. You take the compass, look at it, and begin to argue. Well, my grandfather always said the moss grows on the north side of the trees, and this moss here looks like it's pointing west, so I think west is the new north. Besides, your compass might be broken. Have you calibrated it recently? This might sound absurd, but we do it all the time. We receive clear, actionable feedback or advice from someone who has successfully navigated the path we're on, and instead of taking it, we debate it. We find reasons why it doesn't apply to our unique situation. We spend more energy defending our failing strategy than we do trying a new one. This is another form of ego defense. To accept the advice is to accept that our own approach was wrong. And for many, that feels like a threat to their identity, especially for those who are intelligent but insecure. Their intelligence becomes a weapon used against their own growth, allowing them to construct elaborate, logical-sounding justifications for their self-defeating behavior. The feedback loop is again broken. You cannot learn if you will not listen. This doesn't mean you should blindly follow every piece of advice you get, but it does mean you must be willing to genuinely receive feedback, to sit with it, to test it, to hold it up against your results, not your theories. The most successful people are not the ones who are always right from the start. They are the ones who are quickest to recognize when they are wrong and adjust their course. Are you arguing with the compass, or are you ready to start walking north? As you're arguing with the kind stranger, you suddenly feel a vibration in your pocket, a notification, a new email, a funny video. You get pulled away, and for the next hour, you are lost not in the woods, but in a digital forest of endless, meaningless content. This is our sixth, and perhaps most modern, reason for failure. You are too easily distracted. The world we live in is an economy of attention. Every app, every website, every feed is meticulously designed to capture and hold your focus for as long as possible. And it is working. We are living in a state of what you might call attentional saturation. Our minds are so cluttered with a constant stream of low-value information, social media updates, political outrage, celebrity gossip, endless notifications that we have no mental space left for deep work, quiet reflection, or sustained focus. The journey through the forest requires you to be present. You need to watch your step, read the signs of nature, and listen to the quiet whispers of your own intuition. But you can't do that if you are constantly looking down at a screen. This distraction isn't just about social media. It can be an obsession with the news, a compulsion to fill every silent moment with a podcast, or even the tendency to jump from one project to another without ever seeing one through to completion. It is a form of avoidance. Deep work is hard. Facing your fears is uncomfortable. It is far easier to numb yourself with the endless scroll, to get a quick hit of dopamine from a like or a funny cat video. But this constant distraction is a thief. It robs you of your most precious resource, your focused time. Success in any meaningful endeavor requires long, uninterrupted blocks of concentration. It requires the ability to be alone with your thoughts, to get bored, to wrestle with a problem until a solution emerges. To break free, you must become a ruthless guardian of your own attention. Practice digital minimalism. Set strict boundaries for your technology use. Create sacred, distraction-free zones for your most important work. Cultivate the practice of just being, of sitting in silence without needing to fill it. You must choose to starve the distractions so you can feed your dreams. You put the phone away, but you immediately trip on a root and fall, scraping your knee. Your first thought is, "Stupid root, this forest is so unfair. It's impossible to walk here." This mindset points to our seventh reason for failure. You do not take radical responsibility for your life. This is the pathology of the excuse. To solve a problem, you must first have power over it. You cannot have power over aspects of your life that you do not take ownership of. Therefore, if you do not take responsibility for what happens to you, you will fail. It is a simple yet brutal equation. Life is, at times, genuinely unfair. There are external circumstances beyond our control. People will wrong you. Bad luck will strike. The world is not always a just place. But even when something is not your fault, how you respond to it is always your responsibility. The person who blames the world, their boss, their parents, the economy, or the stupid root in the forest for their problems, has given away all their power. They have become a passive victim of circumstance, waiting for the world to change before they can move forward. This is a losing game, because the world will not change for you. The person who succeeds is the one who, after tripping on the root, says, "I need to be more careful. I need to watch where I'm going. Maybe I need better boots or a walking stick." They focus on the only thing they can control: their own actions, their own mindset, their own response. This doesn't mean you blame yourself for everything. It means you recognize that in every situation, no matter how dire, you have a choice. You can choose your attitude. You can choose your next action. Taking responsibility is not about blame, it's about empowerment. It is the fundamental belief that you are the author of your own life. You may not control the weather in the forest, but you absolutely control whether you build a shelter, light a fire, or simply sit in the rain and complain. As you sit there, nursing your scraped knee and feeling a sense of powerlessness, you look up at the towering trees ahead. They seem to grow even taller, more menacing. A thought creeps into your mind. This is impossible. I can't do this. I'm not the kind of person who can cross a forest like this. And this brings us to our eighth reason. You fail because you don't actually believe you can succeed. The Jedi Master Yoda famously said, "You must unlearn what you have learned." Our beliefs about our own capabilities are not always based in objective reality. They are learned stories, often absorbed unconsciously from our childhood, our past failures, and the opinions of others. And these stories create our reality. In psychology, this is related to the concept of self-efficacy, the belief in your own capacity to execute the behaviors necessary to produce specific performance attainments. It's not wishful thinking or some mystical law of attraction. It's a practical, psychological mechanism. If you don't believe you can do something, you will either not attempt it at all, or you will give up at the first sign of difficulty. Your subconscious mind will not allocate the full measure of your energy and resources to a goal it is already deemed impossible. Conversely, studies have shown something fascinating. Athletes who hold slightly overinflated positive beliefs about their abilities tend to outperform athletes with more accurate or negative beliefs. Why? Because the belief that they can succeed makes them more likely to try harder, to persist longer, and to take the necessary risks. They get up and try. And through trying and failing and learning, they eventually develop the skills that make their belief a reality. This is the essence of what Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. A fixed mindset assumes your abilities are static. If you have a fixed mindset, every challenge in the forest is a terrifying test of your innate worth. If you fail, it means you are a failure. But with a growth mindset, the challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow stronger. So, I ask you, what is the story you tell yourself about this forest? Do you believe you are too weak to cross it? Or do you believe you are someone who can learn to navigate any terrain? The story you choose will determine your destination. Now we are getting deeper, closer to the heart of the forest, where the shadows are longer and the air is thick with unspoken fears. You've faced external pressures and internal biases. But now we encounter something more subtle, more pervasive. It's a kind of emotional fog that dampens your spirit. This is our 9th reason. You fail because you are afraid to truly care. Many of us are infected with a sophisticated strain of apathy. We hesitate to fully, passionately commit ourselves to anything: a project, a cause, a person. We hold a part of ourselves back. We might dabble, we might try, but the moment things get truly difficult, we retreat, telling ourselves, "I didn't really care that much anyway." This feigned indifference is a shield. It is a deeply ingrained defense mechanism. To truly, deeply care about something is to make yourself profoundly vulnerable. Because if you give something your all, if you pour your whole heart and soul into it, and you still fail, the pain is immense. That failure is no longer just an outcome. It feels like a verdict on your very worth. It's a feeling that the renowned researcher Brené Brown has spent her career exploring. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is, as she says, our most accurate measure of courage. To allow yourself to care is an act of immense courage. The apathy, the coolness, the "I don't care" attitude is a cage built to protect you from that potential pain. But this cage, while safe, is also a prison. It robs you of passion, of purpose, of the very fire that is necessary to fuel you through the darkest parts of the journey. You cannot achieve anything great from a place of indifference. Greatness is born from a love so fierce that you are willing to risk the heartbreak of failure for it. To overcome this, you must be willing to face the emotional stakes. You must be willing to admit, "This matters to me. This is important. I want this badly." Yes, it means you might get your heart broken, but it is the only way to feel the exhilarating, life-affirming thrill of giving your all to something you believe in. It is the only way to truly live. We have arrived. We are at the center of the woods, in the darkest, most tangled grove. Here, all the other fears and failures converge and find their source. Here lies the 10th and most profound reason for failure, the root system from which all the others grow. Deep down, You do not believe you are worthy of what you desire. This is the final, most painful truth to confront. You can have all the persistence, humility, and courage in the world. You can have a supportive network and an unshakable belief in your ability. But if, at your absolute core, you carry a feeling of unworthiness, you will find a way to sabotage your own success. You will find a way to tear down everything you build. Because your subconscious mind will always work to create a reality that matches your deepest beliefs about yourself. If you believe you are unworthy of love, you will push away a loving partner. If you believe you are not meant for success, you will miss the deadline for that dream job. If you believe you are an imposter, you will stand in a room full of your heroes and feel like a ghost, unable to connect, unable to receive their praise. This feeling of unworthiness is the silent whisper that says, "This is too good for you. You don't deserve this. Who are you to have all this?" It's a voice that was likely programmed into you long ago by a critical parent, a schoolyard bully, a society that told you you were not enough. It's the ghost in your own machine. And when success comes, when you finally reach that beautiful sunlit clearing you've been fighting for, this voice will scream. The feeling of success will be so dissonant with your internal feeling of unworthiness that the psychological tension becomes unbearable. And so, you will retreat. You will make a mistake, pick a fight, miss an opportunity, anything to get back to the familiar, comfortable misery of the dark woods. Because at least in the woods, you know who you are. The success in the clearing feels like a lie. This is the hardest battle, the truest journey. It is the work of a lifetime. It requires turning to face that voice, not with anger, but with compassion. It requires looking at the parts of you that feel broken and small and offering them acceptance. It is the process of reparenting yourself, of slowly, patiently, building a new core belief: I am worthy. I am enough. I deserve happiness. I deserve to be in the sun. And here is the final, most hopeful secret of the forest. The goal was never to conquer it, to burn it to the ground, or to escape it forever. The journey was about learning to see it for what it is, a part of your own beautiful, complex landscape. The fears, the doubts, the old wounds, they are the trees. They are a part of you. But they are not all of you. As you do this work, as you build your worthiness, something miraculous happens. You begin to see the light filtering through the canopy. You realize the forest has its own kind of beauty. You learn to navigate its paths with confidence and grace. You no longer see it as a prison, but as a place of deep wisdom and strength. And you step out, not into a final destination, but into a clearing, a place of peace, of perspective, of sunlight on your face. You are not a different person. You are a more whole version of the person you have always been. The forest is still there, at your back, and you may have to venture into it again from time to time. But now, you are not afraid. You have a map, written on your own heart. You have a compass of self-worth. And you know, with a quiet, unshakable certainty, that you can always find your way to the light. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Today, your step is simply this: look upon your own forest, not with fear, but with kindness. Acknowledge its presence, and gently, with hope in your heart, decide to start walking.